The amber glow of the Alder Room spilled over my velvet boots, casting everything in a hush of quiet luxury. I smoothed the sleeve of my charcoal cardigan, intentionally plain, deliberately forgettable. Across the room, my older sister Elena held court by the fireplace, wrapped in ivory silk and perched on Balenciaga heels, every inch the image of inherited elegance turned performance art. I'm Maya Dorsey, though in this family, I've always been just May, easier to overlook, easier to pity. At 36, I'm the family's living cautionary tale, the sister Elena mentions with a sigh at Nashville's most exclusive fundraisers. May gave startups a shot, didn't quite pan out, still clinging to the scraps. They didn't realize those scraps totaled $5, $1 billion this morning, per my team in Zurich. May, darling, Elena cooed, sugar laced with sting, so glad you made it. Her eyes flicked to my cardigan like it might stain the velvet chair. You could have said we were meeting at Alder, I'd have lent you something. I smiled, choosing the least conspicuous seat. Comfort matters, I said. She flinched. This is Christopher Harland. She gestured toward a silver-haired man beside her. He's considering our firm for his AI portfolio. She emphasized our with the ease of someone claiming credit by proximity. Christopher, meet my sister May. She used to dabble in venture capital. Before I shifted to private markets, I cut in, scanning the wine list. Elena's smile went brittle. She'd rehearsed the failure arc, not this pivot. Challenging time to be idle, Christopher said, his politeness a thin veneer. I didn't answer. Instead, I nodded to the sommelier. We'll take the Domaine Leroy Musigny Grand Cru, 1990. Elena blinked. That bottle could cover her rent. Andre, I added. Of course, Miss Dorsey, would you like your usual table? This will do. Now she was blinking faster. The staff knew me, and now Elena did too. You can't afford that wine. I'll cover it, she hissed, mortified. Actually, Christopher leaned forward. Did you say Dorsey, as in Maya Dorsey? Elena laughed, tight and brittle. Yes, that's her. Black Ridge Ventures, he said, his voice sharpening. The Maya Dorsey who just bought Lunaris Robotics? The table fell silent. Elena's glass froze midair. Lunaris was undervalued, I said. Their neural integration patents alone were worth twice the asking price. That was a $3.4 billion deal, he said slowly. All cash, I nodded, sipping the Grand Cru. Elena had gone pale. There must be some mistake, she said, brittle. May works from her apartment. She runs one of the Southeast's most profitable private firms. Christopher interrupted. The Kellner restructuring last year, that was you? I smiled. Elena had mocked me for weeks over brunch while I was finalizing that deal, the same client her firm had tried and failed to land. You're not between jobs? She asked, barely audible. No, I said, I'm exactly where I meant to be. I turned to Christopher. I've had my eye on Harlan Systems. Your quantum patents are intriguing. We're not on the market, he said, startled. Everything is, I replied, accepting another pour. Oh, and Elena, don't worry about the bill. I bought the Alder Room last fall. Her expression cracked. The fiction of my failure was crumbling. Why didn't you say something? She whispered. You never asked, I said, too busy writing the ending to a story you never read. Christopher handed me his card. I'd like to talk patents, privately. Of course, I said. My office in the Avalon building has an opening tomorrow. Elena jolted, her water glass toppling. The Avalon building? That's our headquarters. I said gently. Lease transfer goes public at 8 a.m. Funny what you can quietly acquire when your sister keeps telling everyone you're irrelevant. No one thought to look into the holding company signing the checks. By dessert, the entire room saw the shift. Elena's carefully curated stories turned back on her, each petty jab now a spotlight on her blindness. When coffee arrived, my phone buzzed. I turned the screen toward her. Forbes just released their new 40 under 40. Guess who's on the cover? She stared. It was me. Beneath the headline, the silent architect of Southern finance. Every fundraiser where she'd ridiculed me, I'd paid for them all. Exactly, I said. Camouflage is easy when no one's looking for you. I rose, straightened my simple blazer. Christopher, expect terms tomorrow. I paused at Elena's side. And you might want to start scouting office space. Rents are rough lately. Outside, my phone buzzed again. A message from Mom. Elena's crying. What happened? I replied, not much, just told the truth. Tomorrow the world would see what I'd built, the deals, the companies, the quiet empire. But tonight, watching the story unravel without lifting a finger, that was enough. The next morning, sunlight poured through my office windows, framing Nashville's skyline, a city I'd reshaped deal by deal. "Your sister's been in the lobby for over an hour," said Jasmine, my assistant, over the intercom. I checked the security feed. Elena looked wilted, blazer wrinkled, eyes tired. The Avalon announcement must have landed. 6 missed calls from your mother, your dad tried LinkedIn, and your cousin Ava updated her bio to close relative of Black Ridge CEO. I smiled and flipped open my laptop. Headlines. Black Ridge acquires Avalon building in surprise move. Maya Dorsey, the billionaire behind the curtain. The silent architect of Southern finance. My phone buzzed again. A text from Christopher Harland. "Impressive coverage, let's talk patents soon." Before I could answer, Jasmine returned. "Your brother's here, with your father." That was new. Evan usually stayed out of family drama. "Send them up," I said. They stepped into my office like visitors to a foreign land, unsure, unsteady. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like the one on the outside, my threshold. Dad's eyes swept the room, the skyline view, the sleek lines, the wall of industry awards. "Impressive," he said at last. "Better than that sad little apartment you warned me about," I replied, cool and steady. I hadn't forgotten last Christmas's sermon about wasted brilliance. Evan stepped forward. "It's about Elena." Of course, they weren't here to apologize, just to manage the fallout. "She's unraveling," he said. "Losing Avalon crushed her, that was her crown jewel. Now she'll have to earn her name," I murmured, "not borrow it." Dad snapped. "You could have warned us. Instead, you let us worry, let us." "I let you believe what you wanted to believe," I said evenly. "When did any of you ever ask what I was actually building?" Elena was too busy turning me into her cautionary tale. I added, "And you? You assumed I failed just because I chose something unfamiliar, but failure doesn't build a multi-billion-dollar portfolio." Dad sank into a leather guest chair, color draining from his face. "How did we not see this?" I walked to the window, looking out at the Avalon building, soon to be vacated. "Remember when I left Harlem Core 5 years ago?" I asked, when Elena told everyone I'd had a breakdown. They nodded. That lie had become family gospel. "I left because I saw something no one else did. Mid-market tech firms were undervalued, ripe for acquisition. But I knew this family. If I told you, you'd try to run it. Every dollar, every decision. We just wanted to help," Dad said. "No," I turned. "You wanted control, so I let you think I was drowning. I lived lean, used my trust as seed capital, and built quietly." Elena mocked my apartment, not knowing I owned the entire building. "Every concerned phone call you made about my freelancing, I was orchestrating acquisitions." Evan's voice cut in. "Why now? Why reveal this?" I lifted a folder from my desk and handed it to him. "Because now, everything's ready, including your firm, Dad." He stood too fast. "What? The holding company that's been buying up Dorsey Advisory shares? That's me. As of this morning, I own 51%. Evan flipped through the documents. "She's right." "You can't," Dad began. "Can't what?" I asked. "Outperform you?" My phone buzzed. "Jasmine, Elena just tried the service entrance." "If you'll excuse me," I said, "I've got a meeting with Christopher Harlan about his patents. The board meets at 9. You may want to start drafting your retirement statement." "You can't force me out," Dad said, rising, red-faced. "I can," I replied, "and I will." Security was already waiting outside, because real power doesn't shout, it arrives, and it stays. As they turned to go, Evan paused at the door. "For what it's worth," he said softly, "I always knew you were smarter than they gave you credit for. I just didn't realize." "No one did," I said, allowing a faint smile. "That was the strategy." Once the door shut behind them, I buzzed Jasmine. "Hold my calls, unless it's Christopher, and Jasmine, send flowers to Elena at Avalon." "What kind?" "White lilies." And on the card, "Right, sometimes the best success stories are written in silence." I turned back to the window just in time to see their car pull away. My phone buzzed again. "Mom, family dinner tonight. We need to discuss this as a family." I typed, "Can't make it, prepping for the board meeting, but feel free to discuss my billions without me. You've had enough practice talking about my failures." Because this wasn't the finale, it was the first tremor. Elena's clients were already defecting. Dad's retirement would shake the consulting world. And the Dorsey Advisory Board? They were about to enter a new era. At 8:55, I sat at the head of the conference table I once watched from the sidelines. Same room, same dark mahogany, same chairs designed to intimidate. Only this time, I was the one in power. The board filed in, muted greetings, uneasy eyes, each clutching the morning press packet, confirmation of the Phoenix Ventures acquisition, the leadership restructure, and my father's official retirement. He entered last, with Elena beside him, both in immaculate suits, both radiating fury. "This is absurd," Dad spat before even sitting. "You can't just take over." "I didn't just take over," I said smoothly. "I took over months ago, you just weren't paying attention." I nodded to my legal team. "Distribute the voting records." Elena's hands trembled as she scanned the documents. These can't be real." "Like my breakdown?" I said. "Funny how the story changes when the truth shows up." "Or my alleged failure," I said coolly. "No, Elena, these documents are very real. Every share, every proxy, every silent partner, legal, verified, and deliberate." Dad's rage gave way to shock, draining the color from his face. "You've been planning this," he muttered. "All those family dinners. You let me lecture you." I nodded once. Perfect cover. People reveal the most when they assume the person across the table doesn't matter. The boardroom door opened. Christopher Harland entered, flanked by 3 elite clients Elena had spent months chasing. Elena went pale. "Christopher," she choked. "We were meeting with Blackage Ventures," he said, taking the seat beside me, "which, it turns out, means we were meeting with your sister." He turned to me. "Maya, about those patents, we're ready to move forward." Elena's pen snapped in her grip, a smear of ink blooming across her silk cuff. "Those were my clients," she whispered. "Were," I replied, just like this was Dad's company. I rose, adjusting the sleeve of my navy suit, no longer hidden in modest minimalism. "Here's how this plays out. Dad, you'll announce your retirement, effective immediately. Elena, your role is dissolved. Head of client relations no longer exists." Gasps rippled across the room. "The rest of the board may remain if they're prepared to adapt." "You can't," Dad began. I can. I already have." I pressed a button. The screen lit up with charts: client retention nosedives, revenue stagnation, innovation drought. "This firm has been coasting, legacy clients, complacent leadership. In the last 6 hours alone, we've received 14 high-net-worth inquiries requesting a transfer under new management." Eyes widened, chairs shifted. Apparently, clients trust the invisible daughter with a $5 billion portfolio more than the one who spent a decade mocking her. Elena stood abruptly. "This is revenge. You're punishing us." "No," I replied evenly. "This is business, and I learned from the best." I turned to the screen again. "All those years, you told the world I was irrelevant. Looks like they were listening. And now, they're calling me." My phone buzzed. Jasmine's message: "Your mother's here. Aunt Patricia too." "Perfect," I said into the intercom. "Send them in." The door opened. Mom entered first, pearls, posture, and polished smile. Aunt Patricia followed, faltering the moment they saw the room, board seated, clients aligned, me in command. "Maya," Mom began, "darling, this has gone far enough. We're family." I didn't smile. "Were we family when you let Elena tell everyone I'd had a breakdown? Were we family when you forgot to invite me to Christmas because I was an embarrassment?" I clicked to the next slide: Blackage Ventures portfolio, tech, real estate, equity across 6 continents. "You only remembered family when I became worth billions. But that's why this firm needs new leadership." Dad tried once more. "The board won't allow it." "They already have," I said. Christopher opened a folder. "As of this morning, Blackage Ventures holds voting agreements for 82% of shares. The transition is effective immediately." Dad slumped. Years of authority collapsed in a breath. Elena turned away, mascara running like ink on water. Mom stared at me like I was someone she'd never met. And maybe I was. "Jasmine will see you out," I said. "Dad, your retirement package is generous. Elena, your severance is fair." I paused. Consider it a lesson: underestimating people is expensive. Security appeared. I turned to the remaining board. "Now," I said, calm and firm, "let's talk modernization." That evening, I sat in my glass-walled office as headlines lit up every screen. Maya Dorsey, the billionaire no one saw coming. Dorsey dynasty shaken in sudden corporate takeover. My phone buzzed. Evan. Proud of you. Always knew you were the sharpest. I smiled. Your mother's called 6 times, Jasmine reported. Elena emailed 4. Your father's gone quiet. Hold their calls, I said. They had years to speak. Now it's my turn. I turned to the skyline. Success doesn't always shout. Sometimes it grows in silence, fed by doubt, sharpened by exclusion. I opened the family group chat. Next family dinner will be held in my boardroom. Dress accordingly. We have a new hierarchy to discuss. Because some of us weren't raised to inherit power. We were forged in its absence. And when quiet strength finally speaks, it rings. If you've ever been underestimated, overlooked, or dismissed, tell me your story. Because quiet doesn't mean weak. It means watch me. Subscribe if you're writing your own legacy. And remember, let them doubt. Let them laugh. Just keep building.